Yes, hi and welcome to NRLHub.com. This is our special edition Origin 2 preview. My name is Jack Mitry and I'm joined by a couple of self-proclaimed experts. Firstly, we've got good old two-head inbred from up north, Anthony Mitry. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nervous?
Not at all.
Yes, you are.
Not at all.
Okay.
We're Queenslanders, we don't get nervous.
Really?
No.
My other question is, did you make the Origin squad for Queensland? Because just about everyone else did.
Yeah.
I could have sworn
Moving on.
Dale Shearer actually made the side.
Moving on.
We'll get onto that a little bit later. Just a yes or no answer. Are Queensland up to their old tricks?
No.
The old siege mentality,
No.
them versus us, we're the underdogs, backs against the wall.
Nah, I think that they're honestly worried about injuries. There's some serious injuries with some key positions, and I think they're worried. But there's no smoke and mirrors here.
No smoke and mirrors. Okay. Well, let's move on to the original Fairfield Pats Bash brother himself, Michael Bluey Edgar. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Jack.
Mate, are we going to break that winning streak finally?
Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll do it comfortably.
Comfortably. Okay, more on the tips a little bit later on. Before we go into Origin 2, let's sort of backtrack a little bit and look at Origin 1, look at the fallout from Origin 1. Obviously, it's been described as one of the most brutal and epic contests in history, and quite rightly so. Now, a lot of injuries. Obviously, the Cooper Cronk one has been well documented, the Morris brothers, and I dare say a lot will be playing with injuries. One of the hot topics after the game was the scheduling of Origin. Should it be consecutive standalone weekends because it affects the NRL competition and the integrity of that competition, but also the welfare of the players. Firstly, Anthony, what are your thoughts on whether it should be changed, or do we, don't fix it if it ain't broke?
It's not broken. It's not broken. Don't fix it. I'm happy with the way that the Origin runs. I know people are talking about player welfare. You know what? They get paid to play the game. If they're really that worried about their own welfare, don't play the game. Jamie Lyon put his hand up years ago and didn't want to play Origin, whatever reasons he did, but he's looking after his own welfare. So if you don't like it, don't play. Simple. Harden up.
Really, Mick, we could use Jamie Lyon just quietly in this game. Look, we've had comments from Cameron Smith. When people like Smith, Wayne Bennett, Des Hasler, Craig Bellamy come out and speak in favour of protecting the players, because much has been said about player welfare, and a lot of the rule changes have been made with that in mind. When those sort of people speak up, obviously you've got to listen, and they speak with reason. What are your thoughts in terms of the scheduling? I know Anthony is against that.
I'm actually in agreement with Anthony. I think if you look at the gladiatorial nature of Game 1, you couldn't ask those players to back up 7 days later and go at it that hard again and expect the same sort of intensity. I think they need that 3-week break for some of those players who are holding the niggling injuries to get over them, some of them to find some form back at their clubs. But I just think a week and standalone would be too short, and you wouldn't get the intensity in Game 2 and 3 that you'd get in Game 1. So I'm with Anthony on this one.
Yeah, look, it's worked for 26 years. And look, I know a lot of the coaches and players are coming out, but as a Brisbane supporter, we've had to put up with it for 26 years. We've pretty much held up the Queensland State of Origin team, and we've just had to deal with it. We've had to deal with leading into Origin. We've had to deal with the post-Origin slumps. We've won 6 premierships in that time, so
You've had Wayne Bennett, but
but you know what? The Roosters did it as well last year. They had a lot of players in Origin. They won the premiership as well.
See, you use 26 years. The game has changed a lot in 26 years.
Roosters won it last year.
Yeah. But having said that, other teams are denied opportunities, like North Queensland, Melbourne, for instance. And this year with the Bulldogs missing their halves. Surely, as a fan of those sort of teams, missing out on those vital 2, 4 or 6 points during that Origin period, come the end of the season, those sort of teams could be missing out on top 4 or top 8 because of that. And I know Origin is the pinnacle of our game, and we need to enhance it if anything else. But NRL competition is your bread and butter. This is what the fans join up for. This is where a lot of the advertising revenue is generated. and a lot of the interest in the NRL competition, which is now compromised as a result of players getting injured, having to back up. Have we not got to the point where, given that the game is faster and players are bigger and stronger, that surely to goodness the NRL needs to start considering the NRL competition as well as player welfare?
No, I think Origin being the pinnacle that's what all the players now aspire to play for. I mean, being a Canberra fan, I see that it's cyclical. 20 years ago, Canberra supplied half their first grade team to the Origin with Daly, Stewart, Meninga, Mullins, Clyde, Walters. These guys are all playing, and now they supply one, maybe two. Penrith are at the top of the table because they're supplying nobody. But next year, you're likely to see someone like a Josh Mansour and a couple of the other guys really step up, and then they'll be affected. I just think maybe apart from Brisbane and possibly Melbourne, but that'll change when Smith, Cronk and Slater retire. It's cyclical for most teams. It comes and goes. Sure. And I think that with the revenue it generates, it's the elite sporting event on the Australian sporting calendar. Bigger than...
Understand.
It's Super Bowl proportions for Australian sporting public, in my opinion.
And look, at the end of the day, the NRL are looking at a product and saying it's working, we're getting revenue for it, we're getting advertising for it, the people are watching in record numbers, ratings are up, the ANZ Stadium's going to be sold out next week. Why change it?
1,000 extra seats in to break the record post-Olympics.
Yeah, why change it? Don't need to.
Okay. For the record, I disagree with both of you. I agree with the likes of Wayne Bennett that, more needs to be considered in terms of the NRL competition and player welfare. But anyway, we'll move on. Origin 2, it's generated incredible interest, as you just mentioned, Anthony. Let's look at some of the selections, firstly with Queensland. Sam Thaiday comes in place of an injured Papali, and that'll only enhance your prospects. We're hearing Inglis and Billy Slater are both likely to play. However, Daly Cherry Evans doesn't look like playing, and he could be replaced by Ben Hunt. Now, will every sinew in Ben Hunt's body be working at the same time? How do you think he'll go?
He's not Cooper. Look, at the end of the day, I think Benny's been there all week. He's been training in his position, and I think it all depends on his nerves. It all depends how he shows up on the day. Statistically, he's probably the best halfback in the NRL at the moment. He's leading the stats in number of kicks. He's, I think, second in the number of line breaks, just behind Anthony Milford. He's the leading halfback in try assists. You don't lose anything there with Ben Hunt there in Cherry Evans. If Cherry Evans plays, well then that's a bonus. But at the end of the day, I'm confident Hunt will do the job, and I think all the senior boys in the team will be there to support him.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt about it. He's running hot at the moment. Even Mick, you'll agree that as a New South Wales fan, there's no replacing Cronk, nor is there replacing Daly Cherry Evans. But the way Ben Hunt's playing at the moment, he's hot at the moment.
Yeah, I think underestimate him at your peril.
Yeah,
simple as that, because Queensland has shown in the past that if he's got a good support network, someone like Thurston outside him. I mean, there's no Corey Parker, who's the other guy who's missing through injury at lock, but he's got the rest of those guys who are Smith, Slater, Inglis, 20 plus origins each. Like, it's not like he's stepping into a rookie team with no experience, so he'll get all the guidance and assistance he needs. And I think he could be a secret weapon, a real unexpected weapon for.
And they've done that many times in history. Now, speaking of history, it'll show you that Queensland are much more comfortable when they're the underdogs.
Absolutely.
They play that siege mentality card like nobody else in history. You just said at the outset that they're not playing that card.
Look, I think Mal will just be trying to keep them calm. That's what he'll be doing. Once game night hits, then you probably the little bit of that siege will come out. But now it's just about preparing.
I'll tell you, that dressing room the game before, Jonathan Thurston reads the nickname of Jonathan Turnstile. He'll come out, and they'll use that like nothing else. And
look, there's been so much focus on Cherry Evans, on Inglis, and on Slater's injuries. I think it's probably going to allow Thurston to prepare well for this game. I think the danger for New South Wales is our left edge. It's Thurston onto Inglis, onto onto Boyd, who will have in front of them defending two players that aren't used to playing with each other.
Speaking of which, Mick, New South Wales lose a hell of a lot through the Morris boys' injuries, and they were incredibly courageous. Now, do you agree with the Dugan Hopewadi selection on that, that crucial right side as Anthony just mentioned?
I think Hopewadi's selection had merit. I probably would have gone for Mansour. I think he's like a bit of a rampaging bull.
He's in form.
Yeah, he's in form, low centre of gravity, he's destructive. I think he would have done well on the wing with Hopewadi inside him. Looks like Daly spoke to McGregor and said, look, stick Dugan in the centres for a couple of games, and he scored 3 tries against the reserve grade Cronulla side, and that got him across the line. I don't think it's enough. Dugan can play, and if there's an injury or something, they've got versatility there, but it's a risk.
Does that warrant selection? 2 games against depleted
in my opinion,
Cronulla
no.
Sharks?
No, it doesn't.
And probably the most riskiest game. So Laurie Daly's really put his faith in Josh Dugan to do the job on Inglis.
Absolutely. Dugan will put his body on the line. I mean, I've seen that footage of him taking on Dave Taylor when he was playing for Brisbane, running down the sideline, and he got him.
Yeah.
So he does. He will punish himself because I think he's a bit short on the grey matter. But I don't think his selection was warranted. I would have gone Hopewadi in the centres and Mansour on the wing.
The other thing you've got to realise is that the week before against Souths, that South scored 3 tries right down his edge, where he was defending. And I actually watched the highlights of that game again today, just before this. They were all defensive reads. They were all poor defensive reads. He either come in or stayed out, and he did not read the play. Yeah, defensively, he's not a centre.
It can go either way though. Like if he gets beaten inside or outside, they might say, right, push him out to the wing. Push him out to the wing, bring Hopewadi into the centres, or even push him to fullback and bring Hayne into the centres and Hopewadi back to the wing. Like you can sort of mix and match there.
Well, look, the hardest positions to defend on the field are centre and wing. You have the 2 Morris boys there, and they know each other's going back to front. You've got 2 people who've never played on that side of the field together.
They are rooming together.
Well, that's
they are rooming together. And it's if that's not the biggest odd couple.
Yeah, chalk and cheese, absolutely.
We want to be a fly on the wall. Okay, let's go on to tips before we wrap it up. Let's start with you, Anthony. Let's start with the winner. Let's look at margin, first try scorer. I believe you picked the first try scorer.
The first try scorer.
So, folks, listen to this guy. He's on a roll. Winner, obviously Queensland by how much?
I'm going to say Queensland by 13.
And first try scorer for the punters.
I'm going to go Darius Boyd again. Get on him.
He's a stickler, and man of the match will be
Jonathan Thurston.
Mick, winner at New South Wales by how much?
14.
New South Wales by 14, and we've got first try scorer being.
I'm going to go Josh Dugan.
Josh Dugan, wow. Man of the match, having just given it to Dugan.
I think he's itching to get back Greg Bird, and he's just a stalwart for New South Wales. He's every bit that passionate as Gallen is, and he's an animal in Origin. He's our Nate Miles.
Yeah.
Well, just for the record, my heart says New South Wales, my head says they're coming back to get us, and they're not going to give away their title that easy. So I'm tipping Queensland. 8 points. I think Jonathan Thurston will have a heck of a game. He's a special for man of the match. I think, it'll be close. Bird will play well. Dugan's a risk. Either way, it's going to be a massive game. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Queensland up.
Thank you.
Do we have music?
No, just a couple of seconds.
That was over 30 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't take long.
15 minutes is the download, isn't it? The max you can put on YouTube.
I think it.
Interesting to see how that looks.